A boom boom.
Hey, this is Time Bomb, and if it's your first time checking out the channel, hit that subscribe button to catch all the updates. Thanks a lot for joining me here today. I'm going to talk about using a controller on console. Now, I'm going to kind of rant a bit. I don't really plan this too much. I kind of know what I want to talk about, but I'm going to kind of discuss what I think is kind of one disadvantage. I think the only disadvantage that the controller on console really has. I think controller on PC and, every device you have, mouse and PC, basically all of them are viable on the PC. On the controller, obviously, you can do a few different things. You can get the Thrustmaster for your PS4 or for the Xbox. I think there's maybe another option as well for the PS4. I think it's just the Thrustmaster for the Xbox that you can be using. So you're limited to Xbox controller and PS4 controller and specialized controllers. The Elite 2 controller here, like I'm using the Elite 2, so it has the back paddles and pretty standard control in the front. But those back paddles, I can put boosts and different buttons back there I can assign to help me out. So I really like the Elite controller for this game. Actually, I got it specifically for this game because I love it. And I mean, I could have remapped the controller. Now, this is something that I noticed kind of late in the game. I don't know at what point you guys noticed that you could do this, but if you go into controls, you can customize the controls. You see in the bottom right there by hitting X. This is the thing to remember. When you're on a standard Xbox controller, default, the boost button, as you can see, is on the left stick click in. Now that, for all players on controller, PC or at console, you don't want the boost button on the left stick because first of all, you want to be able to use your thumb freely to adjust the roll on that left stick. I had to double check and not mess up my terminology. To adjust the roll. Now, if you have to click in, think about it. If you have to click in on the left stick to do that, you're creating pressure downwards on the control pad. So to move your thumb while holding down on the drift, which is the best way to be drifting, is using the hold, I think, not the double tap. You know what I mean? You're losing some precision there. It's not ideal anyway. You have to push the thumbstick down. You want to be using it on the left trigger. That's where almost all people are remapping that button, which I think it is the best place to do it, is on the left trigger. Myself, because I have the paddles, again, I use that back paddle as my boost button. My left trigger I've just left on targeting. Honestly, the fact that I'm so used to boosting back there, it's hard to switch now. I probably should have just gone with a left trigger boost, but I'm on this weird way. So basically, whenever anyone tells me, I play with mostly PC people, and we're talking about how to effectively manage your power, and we're talking about power management. It doesn't make sense to me because the thing that PC players have that console players are at a disadvantage at is when it comes to maximize weapon power, you have to use it as a hold input. You can see there how it's the orange means to hold input. So to maximize weapon power, you have to hold it, which PC players, they have the option of remapping through third-party programs the maximize weapon power as a single button or combination of buttons. Now, if you're not thinking about it, think about it. The time to hold a button is longer than the time to tap a button, right? So if you need to just tap a separate button to maximize power, then to increase power, which you have control over if you just want to put a couple of pips in power, but you also have this button that you can just press to maximize power. We have to hold it on controller. There's almost, I don't think there's any way to remap this until another thing. You can't do it because when you go into the game here and you try to do these things, you go remap controls, you're pressing it here and it's just, you go to flight here like this, you change, and then when you hit the thing, you go to A to edit, it's going to bring up a menu here where you just press another button to assign to that place, right? Like that's where the idea is. So I'm going to go back and I'm not going to save discard. And then, so that's the idea. You just press that button to assign it. But you can't press how you put it. You can't press a hold. You can't break a tab. You can't change those hold controls if it's already up. You're limited in what you can do. And on the console, the Xbox, the Series 2 controller, You can remap these buttons. But as far as I can tell in the research I've done, you can't remap a hold to be another button, right? Like, I can't remap to just press another button so that it is a hold, which, I mean, then I could set up probably 2 of those, so my buttons would be, 2 would be, if I tapped it, then it would be a hold thing, but I can't assign it. You can't assign for it to be this or that. And then the only way that I could really do it is if I have to, if I hold another button. I can set up for an alt key, a 4th key that I hold, which may be what I am doing. I hold that one, and then I can kind of just tap the up or whatever, and because I'm holding it, and I think it may give that, but there's still, I mean, again, it's kind of like I was talking about earlier with keeping your boost on the left stick. If you have to hold a button, you know, depending where it is, you're creating pressure to apply that hold, and it makes your hand or your thumbs or your fingers less maneuverable because you're doing that hold. That's the thing. Depends what one. Like triggers, you can hold pretty easily, actually. You know, middle, it depends what you're doing exactly with it, but that click in is an uncomfortable one, and I feel like my pinky having to be holding a button, a 4th finger, you know, because this is my thing. I got two here, 2 on the back buttons down there, so it's 3rd finger and pinky. Like, it's just a lot to ask the pinky to do, to be honest. Pinky, basically the way I use my pinky on this is I just kind of do a little flick or tap when I need to. Mostly my other 3 fingers are doing all the work with my thumb. So, yeah, having to work the pinky is a lot. But it doesn't maybe make sense to you. Why are you at a disadvantage because you can't do that? It's the timing, right? Like, people are able to, in a second, put all their power, with advanced power management, put all their power into an engine just immediately, just by pressing the button rather than holding it. So they're able to do it faster and then go back into power. They're just able to put all this energy there and then just put pips back slightly. Where because we can't have this button that we can, I'm going to go back to control, maximize weapon power, maximize engine power, maximize shield power. Because we can't do that on console, on controller, like they can, we are at a somewhat slight disadvantage. This is something to remember. Advanced power management may not be viable for console controller players. If you are a console controller player and you found a good workaround or a different strategy, hey, let me know in the comments. If I'm wrong, I would love to learn otherwise. But I mean, I talk to as many people as I can because I'm trying, because I have an Elite 2 that I can. It's a kind of a cut. No one really plays exactly the way I play. I have to kind of adjust from throttle people or PC and Mac people to learn how to use their best power management strategies on my setup. But without being able to maximize weapon power, you really can't recreate what they're doing on PC as a console controller player. If you followed me along, you get the point I'm making. I don't know if they'll be able to help us. I don't know how this could be changed. It's not such a huge disadvantage. This is a minute thing when you're talking at a very high level of this game, I think about. It might make some power management situations slightly more difficult. And I think this is specifically as an interceptor, I think for the most part, on Republic, I think, but mostly you can basically shunt to kind of definitely get around a lot of those issues where you would maybe want to be able to maximize power a little bit faster. But it does require a workaround or some sort of thinking, like this game kind of does everywhere, though, with your power management. Something to consider, something I wanted to talk about, something I just kind of realized about that I had talked about earlier in the game, but thought I wanted to go over these customized controls and the one flaw that we have on the console with the controller. So thanks a lot for checking out this video. Give it a like if you know what I'm talking about and you agree with this whole thing. Thanks a lot for listening if you made this far. I'm Time Bomb. You guys are awesome, and I will catch you guys later.